So you should have just watched the video about the dropping of the atomic bomb, and you would have seen that the US felt like they needed to drop the bomb because the Japanese were not surrendering, and they needed them to because they needed to end the war. So they felt like this was kind of their last effort to do so. You also should have seen that it killed a lot of civilians, meaning like regular people, in the cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Um, so far in like the Pacific, most of the death toll was like soldiers or people fighting in the military. Not all, there were still a lot of civilian deaths, but at this point is when Japan suffered the most civilian deaths because of the bomb. So what you're going to do now is actually look at 4 different documents that are relating to the dropping of the atomic bomb. We'll read this vocab support really quickly. So word, dropping the atomic bomb. So the definition is that during World War II, the United States, with the support of her allies, started the Manhattan Project in order to produce the world's first nuclear weapons. These atomic bombs were unleashed on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6th and 9th, respectively. Over 100,000 Japanese civilians, not soldiers, were killed in the blast, 50,000 of which were killed instantly. The Allies believed that by bombing cities and civilians, it would force Imperial Japan to surrender and end the war. Japan was ready to continue World War II for years if needed, even after Germany was defeated. More so, the Allies believed that dropping such a devastating weapon would help to prevent future wars as well. So we're going to look at document 1 together. And while we're reading these documents, you want to be thinking, what one, is it a primary, secondary source? But then also, is the author saying that the dropping of the atomic bomb was justified? Remember our central question? So we're essentially kind of not going to do a DBQ, but we're reading these documents as if we were. And so we're going to answer this question, right? So document A is this picture here. The city of Nagasaki following the dropping of the second atomic bomb. The city was absolutely devastated and destroyed by what happened that day. More so, Hiroshima, another Japanese city, was bombed only 3 days before, making Nagasaki the second of such attacks. So we're looking at a picture, a photograph that was taken at the time in 1945, right after the atomic bomb was dropped in Nagasaki. Okay, so knowing that, is this document a primary or secondary source? Well, remember, primary sources are things that are not things, these documents that are created at the time of an event. So the event was 1945, right? And so we're looking at this and saying, was this taken at the time of the dropping of the atomic bomb in 1945? And the answer is yes, which makes it a primary source. So you are going to highlight your answer. I will say about 25% of us that have been submitting these modules, you had this last week where you needed to highlight one. That seemed confusing for some reason, but you need to be doing this on every single one. So you're highlighting which type of source it is. And then we're answering the question. Would the Japanese photographer who took this photo have thought that the dropping of the atomic bomb was justified, meaning the right thing to do? So when we're looking at this, do we think that they would have thought it was justified? Well, this picture is showing the amount of devastation. It's showing you this person who looks distraught, looking off in the distance at a building that is barely standing, right? So it's showing you that how much damage the bomb created for Nagasaki. So that being said, we're going to assume that like this photographer does not think that dropping the bomb was justified because he's showing you the devastation that occurred. So you'd say most likely the photographer would have considered dropping the bomb to be unjustified because of the amount of devastation. I can spell devastation that occurred. Okay, maybe I can spell. Sorry, guys. So we just looked at document A and said that the author does not think it's justified. Now, you are going to do what we just did with document B. See, it's not a lot of reading, very small paragraph. You can do the same with document C, which is a table, which was created in 2012, showing you the amount of deaths, right? So it's the chart shows the most deadly battles and conflicts of World War II. The bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were two of the deadliest conflicts of the entire war. So those are the highlighted ones, and it's showing you the amount of death. So you're deciding, is this author saying that it was justified or not? And you're going to do the same thing with document D. So B, C, and D are on your own, answering the same question for each one. Okay, is the author considering the bomb like justified? And then for your independent practice, you're going to go to Google Classroom and you are going to answer the question, was the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki justified? Okay, that is available for you right here. It is in the week 5 drop-down menu, so it's there. It says the question. Then once you are done submitting it for your question, you are going to also reply to a classmate's. So you either are agreeing with them because, or you disagree with them because. So you're using these documents to come up with your own claim about, was the U.S. justified in dropping the atomic bomb? I'm going to explain this more in class on Monday. So if you are able to attend, you should. When you are done with that, you're going to complete the mastery check, week 5, module 1, and then turn in this module, and you are done with module 1 for the week.